Hey everybody, Chris Sargent Taz here, and today I'm going to go over the Genius. Yeah, I know it's a long time in review, but I'd rather test these out in real world applications and give you the update. Let's check it out. Hi guys, welcome to the channel. If you're new, if you're not, you've been here and it's been a while since I did a video. Don't know what to tell you. Sorry. It's bad all around, but thanks for tuning in. So, I purchased the Genius, and I did purchase it used from 3D Nexus. So it already had the 119 update already installed from 3D Nexus. Also had the 1mm PEI sheet already installed. So those are about the upgrades I was going to do to it anyways. So it panned out. You know, he used it in production and was switching over to some other printers and playing around. So I took advantage of being able to buy one from him, and I know this stuff's done right. Overall, what have I done? Pretty much just cosmetic upgrades. Probably the most important thing I did was add the strips inside, the extrusions. That was to keep stuff from falling in there and getting stuck, and then you're having to vacuum it out. That was the big update, and I also covered the USB and SD card section with a print, so I didn't get dirt and grime in there either. I don't use them. I use Octoprint, so it has its own Octoprint setup. So it has the cam and a nice little streamlined case that I attached to the printer. You'll see in the review and pictures once I put it up. Overall, I've been using the 3D Nexus settings. I'm still using, like most of the time, I'm using Cura 4.6.1 because the newer stuff really doesn't do much for me. I mean, it's got bloatware after a certain point. I don't see the need to upgrade. I've heard better tree support, but I haven't had a problem with mine, so I don't see the need. Up to you. Overall, it's a basically good printer. It's a baby X1, so to me, it's a smaller version of the X1 over here. And I got two of these running, and I figured a lot of times I get smaller print jobs, so I don't need the huge plate. So I use it for smaller print jobs, and I get a lot of use out of it, honestly. I've only upgraded the heat break. So here we are, the Genius. So I updated by adding the rollers to give me ability to use whatever spool holder I wanted. The covers were already in place, so I didn't mess with it, so it's all stock. I covered up the wiring and end stops with a print there. I did a nice bezel for the screen, and then I put these in so I don't get dirt trapped into the USB or SD card slots. I did the channels so you don't get any material winding up inside the extrusions and then jamming up. You still got to clean around the edges, but realistically it works pretty well. This keeps all the extra junk coming off your bed from actually getting trapped in here and then building up and then either binding your bed or more or less screwing up its motion. And it's easy to make, easy to clean things off. So I got it there. I still haven't really redid the braid, but I left a PTFE tube on it. You can run that inside. I didn't for now because I'm lazy, but other than that, that's all the upgrades I did to it. I also added Pi so I can use Octoprint. There's a print for this little tray that holds it onto the side with some T-nuts, which is nice. I'll have a link below for that. But other than that, it's running the 119 software. from 3D Nexus. So it's pretty much stock. Works well. I have had no real issues with this, and considering I bought it used already, it's a good deal for this printer. Not sure what more I can say about it. So yeah, I've only upgraded the heat break, and I went to the newer style all-in-one heat sink, which makes life a lot easier to disassemble and reassemble. So that was the major change I did to it. Most of your newer ones are going to come with it already, but they're going to have the PTFE lined break, and I like to use high temperature stuff. So rather than fighting with that, that was the big switch I did. Keep in mind that does make it, at least in my opinion, you need to oil your filament because you want to get that heat break smooth and running. And if you're going to do PLA, it's going to stick. It's like a frying pan, in my opinion. You need to keep it oiled so it runs through smooth and doesn't get stuck and give you those clogs. You also want to reduce your retraction, so you want to be, 1 millimeter or lower when you do it, or else you're going to wind up with clogs, especially on an all-metal brake. It's going to pop up too far, it's going to cool off, and then try and push back down, and you're going to have misery and taking it apart and messing with the extruder. So all I can say is avoid that if you upgrade to an all-metal heat break. I also changed the nozzles. I run Micro Swiss, the plated version, because I can take those, and when one gets clogged or goes bad over time, which they all do eventually, you can clean it out, soak it in acetone, brush it back off, and it's ready to go again. So I have yet to, I bought 2 for each printer that uses FDM. So I have a Micro Swiss nozzle for 2 of them for each of my printers, and go on to the next one. So I have one clean and ready to go at all times. Other than that, the printer's been as great as using the X1s. Granted, I've upgraded my X1s over time, both of them, and I did some different things. The Genius has stayed stock. I am not doing multicolor prints on it, so it's no big deal. It's generally for like production prints that people want one color and one color only, so I don't have to worry about the M600 or any of that stuff. And I really don't need to worry about anything else. The leveling went really quick with the 119 from 3D Nexus. You can do the mesh leveling with that as well. So it's all there for you when you do that. Like I said, those are the only upgrades I would seriously recommend for the Genius, is do the 119 update and the firmware, so you have your EEPROM, your mesh leveling, and you have pretty much a better screen to work with. Other than that, putting the channels in would be important because of the fact that eventually you're going to get dust and debris building up on your extrusions that it's riding on, and you just don't want to get your belt caught or your wheels sticking because dirt isn't coming off of the top of the printer or remaining filament. That's the main reason I put those in there. I put them in on all my printers, as you can see, kinda. I just run them because I don't want to have to clean those out and vacuum them out. Now, put them along the sides, that's just decorative, so it doesn't provide any real need. I didn't need to put any strain relief on mine. I didn't see the reason for it, other than I did do the actual rubberized bed relief because that was bad. So you want to keep that in mind. I'm not a big fan of putting the chains on them because unless you're buying the actual chain from like Amazon, if you're printing one, they're going to bind and they're going to kink eventually because you're not always going to get the nice print you want from a printed one. So I'd spend the extra couple of bucks, get an injection molded one so you're not fighting that issue if you do go with a chain. I went with a simple PTFE tube, lined it, and made sure it just stayed with, do zip ties and tighten it up just so it doesn't flex anywhere in that rubberized chain. They supposedly went back to the other version of the mesh, but I'd still run something inside there to keep it on an arc so you're not folding it anywhere, because if it does that, over time it's going to go back and forth, and you're going to snap either your thermistor or your heater cartridge in that mat, and now you're either trying to trace down where it broke, or you're going through a whole replacement. So keep that in mind. The pictures should show most of this stuff, and I will edit it in to give you an idea what the heck I'm talking about. But other than that, I think the Genius is a solid printer. Really nice. And hopefully next video I'm going to compare it to, let's see if I can get it on my camera without wrong directions. I'm going to compare it to the Hornet for you guys to some degree, because I'm going to do a Hornet review. I've been playing with that a bit, and it's a nice starter printer, but we'll get into that in the next video. I appreciate you guys watching, as always. Like and subscribe. I appreciate that as well. And as always, see ya.